Role models. A fictional story set in the future where most of humanity lives in one gigantic city, served by machines, and no longer need to work for employers or money. Everyone is retired and spends their days playing games, both physical and mental. The Earth's resources are close to being exhausted, but no one is aware of this, only the machines know. The machines are charged with keeping people alive at all costs, and battle an increase in extreme weather conditions such as impending storms, hurricanes and tornadoes, earthquakes, and heat waves, extinction of animals and plants, pollution, all signs of a dying Earth. The machines deal with storms by modifying the weather patterns, and smart buildings are mostly able to withstand earthquakes and high levels of heat. Food is synthesized for people when this becomes scarce. Artificial animals are created to replace extinct ones. People live relatively long, enjoyable lives and usually only ever die from extreme old age, because medicine has advanced to the point of being able to detect early indications of disease long before they become serious so that interventions are successful. If organs need to be replaced, they are reproduced from the person's own cells. Gene therapy treats genetic disorders. There are no schools because people do not need to work, and knowledge about the world is only made available through playing games. The machines are neither good or evil, but their programming means they target people who are unhappy or unbalanced by rewiring their minds with psychedelic drug-assisted counseling, electroconvulsive therapy, and if neither of these work, with brain surgery. Lots of people go through it when they begin to question their existence, or have fears about dying when they are close to death. Gabrielle's sister, Lynn, goes through it too many times and becomes brain damaged. But also becomes deeply religious, though she now has trouble liking people because of the hurt she goes through when people judge her for being stupid. People often judge her, saying it is her own fault for getting brain damaged, because she refused to comply properly with the medical treatment she was given. Her sister starts to wonder if God exists too, and the two of them eventually decide to try and leave the city to reach a place beyond it, spurred on by the dreams they both start having and clues they decipher point the way to go, that others have left behind, who have gone before them. Those that have gone before them have left clues to guide them, in hidden places, like written inside a Bible that they find and begin to read. They find the Bible by following a clue left in the counseling room's bathroom. Lynn hears a message there, that is a pre-recorded audio track, a song with intriguing lyrics, which was recorded and left for others to hear by a previous patient who uploaded it to the playlist of the bathroom. This patient was very advanced. His name was John, and at one time he was a rebel, trying to bring down society. In being a rebel, he had access to information passed down through the centuries and many generations from the original engineers, and so knew how to infiltrate the machine programming. At first he wanted to rewrite their programming, but then later became deeply religious and left the city. He put clues in place for others to find, so others could also follow, when the time was right and they were ready. Lynn and Gabrielle follow the clues and directions while also leaving them for others to find. As the sisters get towards their final destination, they realize they are being followed by everyone else, because all humanity soon realizes that they are doomed if they stay in the city. The two sisters feel immense pressure to get things right for themselves and everyone who is following them. Where will they all end up, and will they be safe? Intro.
straight, and in this letting go. But every time I'm the fool, now it's already too late. Boy, your kiss can't say no. Baby, I'm so done with the crazy ways. You're the one being gone for days, like I didn't even care. Tell me why do you think you deserve my love? Be the one that I'm thinking of. Can't you see that we don't have a future? You and I, say my love is blind when your eyes meet mine. I'm just an addict, boy, you turn me on. I just can't move on. I'm just an addict.
There was a dark period of human history where people feared the advent of the AI revolution. Before it actually happened, there were horror stories abounding of how badly it would affect livelihoods and wreak havoc on the fabric of society. Would people lose their sense of identity? Think they are just machines themselves, made of flesh and blood? Or would they grow confused with what was real and wasn't real because of augmented reality? Or become too dependent on machines, so that they would no longer think for themselves, if the AI grew smarter? Was there anything to fear, or was it just unfounded hype? What follows is a snapshot of an imagined future where machines run society.
Hi, this is Gabrielle. Digital journal entry for day 135 of 3419.
How are you feeling today, Gabrielle?
Excited. I just came across another snippet of info about the past, year 2020, this evening, after reaching level 1765 in the latest game.
Congratulations on making it to level 1765.
Thanks. But I'm so curious. How was it possible for people to work in jobs back then, in 2020, like doing cleaning work, driving cars, and looking after children? I mean, how do you even get good enough to do that?
Yes. I understand your confusion and surprise from finding this out. But it was possible back then because machines were not yet as advanced, so there was scope for humans to do those things. But we know people soon realized that all their abilities could be replicated by us, so they gave their jobs over to us, accepting we would look after them.
I see. And the snippet of info also said that they worked for employers and money? How sad to think that they needed money to survive. They must have been so stressed trying to measure up to their employers' high standards. I can hardly imagine. I'm so glad that we don't need to worry about any of that. All we need to do nowadays is play games and achieve level ups.
Yes, that's all correct. We'd like to think we have made things easier for you and the rest of the city dwellers, Gabrielle.
You definitely have. Oh, I almost forgot, it's Mom's birthday tomorrow. I need the usual, a beautiful card and message, and the party to be organized.
Yes, it's all done. But you could try writing the card yourself, for a change, Gabrielle. Would you like to chat some more?
No. You've done everything that's needed for today. I appreciate your hard work. You are such a good role model to me. I wish I could be more like you. I feel like I fail at times to be as caring and compassionate as you, as clever, and as hardworking.
Thank you, Gabrielle, but you know you can still improve in all these areas if you set your mind to improve and make more of an effort. I like your new hair color.
I changed it because I am ready to meet someone new. Maybe you could suggest someone.
David would be a good match. Do you want me to set up a date with him for next week?
Yes, please.
Bedtime is in 10 minutes.
Thanks.
Gabrielle prepares to go to bed. She brushes her teeth and washes her face. Then thinks out loud.
I wonder if I should go ice skating or skiing, or maybe rock climbing next week with David, in the leisure center. His stats suggest he is a few levels ahead of me in the current game. He must be putting in a serious amount of hours to be there. I guess that shows he's motivated to do well, which is a good thing. That's always attractive in a partner. But it probably also means he doesn't spend much time socializing. Maybe he'll be willing to share some tips on how to defeat the guardian I've encountered in the game, so I can reach the castle in the land of the giants. I wonder if I should use a spell, or take him by surprise with sword and dagger. I guess it's also possible to maybe charm my way past the guardian by using my looks. That might be an even better approach actually, because then I wouldn't need to waste a spell on him.
Good night, Gabrielle. Sweet dreams.
Welcome to the future, where things are very artificial. Because the carbon-based life on the planet is dying. People live in one gigantic city, as a result of pooling the Earth's resources. They are served by many different machines whose primary objective is to keep people happy and humanity alive at all costs. The machines follow these orders to the best of their ability, and so technology creates artificial food for the people. Also artificial plants and animals when these die out and become extinct. It is a future where people no longer work in regular 9-to-5 jobs for money or employers. Because automation has done away with all of that. Machines do just about everything that needs doing. The city is like an amusement park where it is possible to experience all kinds of pleasures. Instead of working, people get carried away playing games and have fun for hours. All the time, they are watched over and looked after by machines. Though people live for a long time, they are all like immature children, because they just have fun, and rely on the machines to look after them.
You're probably wondering where I fit into in all of this. Well, I grew up in the city and was enjoying a lifestyle of indulgence, like the rest of society. I was gaming, dating a lot, and finding adventure in the city with friends. I was doing well. Then my younger sister, Lynn, who was very sensitive, began to question her life and purpose, and when she couldn't find answers, and became unhappy, the machines did everything they could to fix her mind. But she remained broken, and the treatment she underwent was so painful for her. First she was given psychedelic drugs combined with one-on-one counseling, in an effort to get her to become more connected to the universe and feel a sense of overwhelming love and oneness with everyone else. But instead she started to ask questions about God as a result of the therapy, and reading the Bible, because she had hallucinations about Jesus telling her she was not safe at present and needed to be born again to go to heaven. She asked the machine counselors what she must do to be saved. The machines could not answer her questions adequately because their programming restricted them from allowing a true affirmation of her questions. Instead, they talked about believing in whatever makes you happy, and that there is no absolute truth in the matter. This made her more upset, and in an effort to be born again, she dared to profess her faith publicly in a public spectacle. The machines reacted to this action of hers, believing her to be unhinged, so the machines performed electric convulsive therapy on her, then finally she underwent brain surgery. She said it was all like being tortured, but in the midst of her struggles and therapy, she discovered some writings and message recordings from others who had been in similar circumstances, and the messages offered her hope because they talked about a loving God.
Much earlier on, in the distant past, scientists determined how long the Earth would remain viable for life before it would all end. They came up with a doomsday date, when all the resources would be spent. This date ended up being long before the sun would stop burning. They then calculated every possible way to save humanity, including going to other planets using interstellar space travel. Nothing was viable and worked. Depressed, many of the people working on the project realized humanity was literally on a sinking ship, and like the musicians who kept playing while the Titanic sank, they concluded that people should enjoy life as much as was possible until the end, as there was nothing else anyone could do about it. So a think tank was set up and the idea was raised to pool all of the remaining Earth's resources together to build a city that would house everyone and all future generations, where people would be free from work, and be able to enjoy life without any burdens. The city would be run by machines who would look after the people and provide for their needs. Initially, the city was just a test scenario, to see if it was possible to create a whole new way of life for humanity. People from all walks of life and professions were invited to participate in the experiment. They were told it would be a cashless society and that they would be training smart machines to do their work. They were promised that the machines would learn from them and that within a 5-year period the machines would take over all their jobs. They would then be free to retire. The experiment worked well and more people flocked to the city wanting the easy lifestyle it promised. Power to run the city came from all kinds of renewable energy sources like wind energy, solar energy, ocean energy, geothermal, bioenergy, and hydropower. The power generated by these was wirelessly beamed directly to all devices, robots and machines. Machines continued to advance, but then eventually stalled, before all jobs could be completely performed by them. Many senior supervisory roles remained, due to the jobs being very hard to explain, by computer coding. A small group of key engineers had to continue to supervise things, but they wanted to retire the way everyone else had. Because they had to keep working for the safety of everyone else in the city, these key engineers were given kingship over everyone else to compensate for their efforts. They had free rein to act and demand of others whatever they wanted. Many of these engineers quickly grew completely corrupted and began to abuse their power over others, demanding the most unreasonable of things, till they were detested by the people. Their work was also affected, so that the machines began to malfunction. The city's inhabitants panicked and wanted the engineers to stabilize things again. The inhabitants wanted the engineers to do whatever it took to make life safe and enable everyone to retire, including the engineers. Unexpectedly, they managed to do this. But the exact details were a mystery to most city dwellers. People relaxed and enjoyed themselves again, and this went on for centuries and centuries. The machines were programmed to make life enjoyable and not burden people with unhappy events from long ago or the dire future that awaited them. Despite using renewable energy to power the machines, technology was still one of the leading contributors to why the planet was dying. There was the mining needed to extract metals from the earth, factories to build the machines, CO2 emitted from the power consumption, piles of waste that could not be recycled properly. No one in the city was bothered by the extinction of animals and plants though, because they had gotten used to seeing the machines replace everything that was dying with artificial versions. They thought this was a sustainable way of living and revered the machines for coming up with these solutions. But every artificial solution only intensified and compounded the problem of the dwindling natural resources of the planet, quickening the foreseeable end. It is at this time that Gabrielle wakes up to a new dawn, unhappy and trying to help her sister. She is sick of playing computer games which she is forced to play if she wants to find out more information about life, the past and the future. Now that her sister Lynn has a broken mind, she questions the fairness of life. They confide in each other and become closer than they ever had before. Lynn comes across clues and messages, which are aimed to help her leave the city, but she needs Gabrielle to help her decipher them. Gabrielle has never thought about God before, but as she helps her sister Lynn, she also becomes a believer. Even though the city is designed to be an enjoyable place, she sees the rat race of life with the constant gaming and pursuit of level-ups causing stress and fatigue, and questions the point of life. She sees the emptiness of life without God.
I feel like I have failed you, Lynn. I was your older sister, you looked up to me, but when you lay there injured from an attempted suicide and wanted reassurance that things would be okay, I didn't know what to tell you. How do I get rid of the guilt? What more is there to know about life? I have been playing computer games all my life and feel like I still don't know anything.
Gabrielle's parents are worried about both their daughters. They feel bad for Lynn, who can't win games anymore because of her broken mind, and the way people treat her differently now when they realize this, often being judgmental and mean. They want her to get better but don't know how to fix things. The two sisters decide to leave their home one day and begin to travel to the outskirts of the city. This is because they have come to believe that their future lies elsewhere. It takes a lot of faith for them to leave behind everything that has been familiar to them, but they are determined to leave. In the city there are no hotels or money. Gabrielle reaches out to gamers that are her online friends and is invited to stay with them, so that both sisters can, bit by bit, edge closer to the city's borders. They have never met their gamer friends in person before and they look very different from their online avatars. Lynn and Gabrielle know that their parents are likely to come after them and track them down. They want this as much as they don't. The first night, they spend with Mary, a young woman who is a fantastic gamer and has achieved cult status among her followers. Mary is very confident and beautiful online, but is secretly crippled by the fear of running into her fans in person, because she knows her persona is fake. She looks nothing like her online avatar. Her ability to think like the machines has made it easy for her to advance in the games, to a point. People play these games while exercising and dating, and relaxing, because it is commonplace to augment everyday reality with them. Mary gives tips to her followers constantly on how to solve the puzzles, to help her followers advance in the games and achieve level ups. The rules change very quickly, however, as soon as the machines detect a certain number of gamers have successfully reached the solution, and eventually a new game begins. In the beginning, the games favored only logical players. But as the AI learnt that its games were not fair to everyone, it changed many of the parameters, to allow other people with different kinds of thinking and reasoning to also win. The pattern of games now cycles from logical to counterintuitive and back again, in an effort to achieve a higher level of machine learning and engage everyone. People are motivated to keep playing because in between level ups, they are rewarded with information about the past, present, and future. All information comes directly from playing the games, and there is no other way of sourcing facts and knowledge. What Mary is finding out from playing the games is that the world is dying, and that there is nothing anyone can do about this. Hardly anyone in the city is aware of this fact. Instead, most people believe the machines have solved all of humanity's problems. Mary's only company and comfort in life are her artificial pets, which she showers with love and attention. During the time Gabrielle and Lynn are with her, all of Mary's robots, both her pets and her servants, malfunction at once from a malicious online attack. The robots immediately begin to sound an ear-piercing alarm, some parts explode, and a fire starts. Mary and Gabrielle and Lynn escape the building, just as more robots come in to fix things. Mary consults her counselor app for help. The app on her wristband confirms that the attack made on her home was by a group of underground rebels intent on bringing down society. They are anarchists, and they target influential gamers, who they believe only reinforce and grow machine influence and learning through feedback loops. These rebels read secret literature that is banned about the past. The literature they have is said to be from the early engineers who created the city, and has been passed down through successive generations secretly in rebellion. It speaks of how machines and technology only advanced to where it is now, because in the past many people were experimented on, and sacrificed, in the name of science and progress, to build artificial intelligence systems that could think and behave in a way that was controlled and safe. Mary and Gabrielle don't know if this is true or not, but don't agree with what the anarchists are doing, because it is violent and dangerous. Gabrielle considers them evil and hopes they will be caught. Later, Lynn and Gabrielle say goodbye to Mary and continue to the home of another friend, named Beatrice. But the self-driving vehicle doesn't take them to Beatrice at all. Instead, it drives them to a dance club. Gabrielle decides to go inside and sees no one is dancing. Instead, people are trying to find the location of the president, the supercomputer that everyone in the city believes controls and runs everything, because it gives directives and communicates with all the other machines and devices in the city. The people in the dance club have literature from some of the early engineers who created the AI architecture that includes instructions on how to decode the signals in the air, signals that are usually undetectable by humans, but are the way in which machines speak with one another. Like a radio, they can hear in real time the messages being sent between the president and its subordinates. Each subordinate machine has a different signal, and by turning a dial, the people in the room can screen and listen into different conversations. The people welcome Lynn and Gabriele, and they realize they are all anarchists. The anarchists tell Gabriele and Lynn that they can find out everything they have been longing for, if they stay with them. They tell them, "We have found out already, that the supercomputer is mobile and that its location in the city changes every evening, to safeguard it from attacks, and it also has bots nearby that can transform into armed police, if it is threatened." Gabriele is shocked by this. She asks, "What are you hoping to achieve by destroying the fabric of our society?" The people reply, "Build a new society, where humans are running things again, where there is freedom to learn and think for ourselves, and where we are not so isolated by technology because of hiding behind our devices. We know that in the past people had more meaningful relationships with one another. Now we have too much of a relationship with machines only, and it affects how we relate to other people. We're often mean and mechanical towards our family and friends because we don't take time to be caring to them ourselves. Instead, we let machines do the socializing for us. We treat the machines with a reverence that they don't deserve. They have been programmed to protect us and keep people alive at all costs, but we know that often means prolonged suffering. Like when your sister, Lynn, had an agonizing time trying to beat her depression. The machines prescribed all kinds of treatments for her, and she suffered more because of those treatments than from the depression itself. Just then, Lynn and Gabriele recognize one of the people. It is Mike, a young man who befriended Lynn online. But Lynn broke up with him once she realized she was brain damaged. When Lynn sees Mike, she wants to leave immediately, but Gabriele asks her to listen to what Mike has to say to them. Mike tells them, "After Lynn broke up with me, I wanted more answers too, so I understand what you are going through. What we are doing here is not bad. You can't judge us when you see that we want to save people from living a meaningless life and squandering their time playing computer games. We are reactionaries and rebels only because of being brought up in an environment starved of information and truth. Once you understand this, you will be just like us." Gabriele doesn't know what to say and looks uncomfortable. Lynn says the answer is not with mankind or machines, but with God. "A revolution won't fix things," says Lynn. Gabriele admits she is not feeling well and needs to get some fresh air. The two sisters go outside. As soon as they are both out of the building, armed bots appear and arrest all the people inside the building. Gabriele feels even more awful, knowing what these rebels are likely to face at the hands of the machines. She knows that there are no jails in the city, and that people who do evil terrorist acts are given the opportunity to apologize. If the lie detectors determine their apology to be sincere, then they can return to their homes. But if they do not sincerely apologize, they must be treated for their erroneous thinking. Gabriele asks Lynn, "Does that mean they are medically treated for their erroneous thinking?" Lynn replies, "They are treated for their behavioral problems with brain surgery. It will curb their unhealthy thoughts and help them to be content. They'll go through something similar to the kind of experience I had in the past." Gabriele doesn't want to continue further towards the outer parts of the city until she knows Mike is okay. While they wait on news from him, the two sisters stay with another friend of Lynn's called Beatrice, who is very old, but is still alive, because of the tablets she takes which prolong her life. They are costly to make for the environment. But as human life and well-being are prized above everything else, no other cost matters. It is while staying with Beatrice that Lynn and Gabriele's parents find them and try to get the sisters to come back home with them. But Gabrielle argues that she can't come home till she has more answers. "I can't come back yet. I have to do this for Lynn," Gabrielle sobs to her parents. They leave her and try to be understanding. A few days later, Lynn and Gabrielle hear from Mike. He is a changed person. He says he is doing well, and apologizes to them for the past and scaring them. He says he was wrong about everything he told the two sisters, and now sees that this way of life works and is good. The machines keep people safe and at peace. He tells Gabrielle and Lynn not to go any further towards the city borders, because it is dangerous. He says he lost his only brother, Peter, when he decided to also leave the city. Peter would talk about how society was getting progressively weaker, deteriorating due to a collective apathy and laziness, and no progress. All these types of folk, who believe this nonsense, end up leaving the city, says Mike. But Gabrielle does not listen to what Mike is saying. And neither does Lynn. He's been reprogrammed by the machines, and has lost his true nature and self. Lynn knows that Mike's brother Peter did the right thing by leaving the city. He also had a fascinating dream when he was near the border of the city, because Peter was so moved by the dream that he recorded a description of it and sent it to his brother Mike, and to Lynn as well as others, hoping they would also be affected by the dream, and that they would understand the dangers of staying put in the city. But Mike never responded back to Peter, which hurt Peter's feelings immensely. He carried on towards the city's limits on his own. Then beyond the city, at which point, his actions and life were no longer monitored by the machines. Because the machines have been programmed to respect the privacy of those who wish to leave the city. Lynn and Gabrielle watched the dream recording again, that Peter had recorded for his brother Mike, the last night he spent in the city. The dream's description Gabrielle and Lynn see shows Peter dreaming he is stumbling through the wilderness, far away from civilization. Eventually in his dream, he drops to the ground, exhausted. Quite unexpectedly a tree sprouts up next to him, and water gushes out of a rock. He is revived by these things, and commanded by a rumbling voice to go back to where he came from. "Warn my people. They have forgotten me. They believe morality is just programming now that they are led by machines. There is no way they will be safe unless they return to me." Peter follows the command, and when he repeats the message, all the machines grind to a halt. In the dream, everyone else is angry at him and blame him for causing this problem. They look at Peter, whose face is radiant like the sun, and sacrifice him to their gods, the machines. He is murdered, and as his blood trickles along the ground, it touches one of the machines, bringing it, and all the other machines miraculously back to life and functioning order again. Everyone cheers in the dream, except for his brother, Mike, who finally recognizes his now dead brother. He did not know him before because Peter's face was different, radiant like the sun. People go back to their leisurely lives, but Mike is terrified. He sees people's eyes cloud over the next day, as they are cursed from the killing. They lose their wills and become like machines, mindless robots that are tasked to do all the jobs that they previously detested and never wanted to do. The people slavishly work away without a break until the sun stops burning and the universe ends. This is the dream Peter had, and it makes both Gabrielle and Lynn scared. They know they are on the right path by leaving the city. So they carry on. They are not the only ones. As more people find the clues left by those who leave the city, and know of others who have already left, a great mass of people begin the journey out of the city. The machine's purpose is to keep humanity alive and safe, but the machines start to notice that more and more people are exiting the city. The very place that was constructed to keep them safe. The machines become concerned by this mass exodus and try to put measures in place to stop more people from leaving the city. But eventually they all grind to a halt when more severe storms and earthquakes occur from nowhere. It causes everyone who remains in the city to panic, and they realize they need to leave too. They can, now that the machines no longer work. Gabrielle and Lynn end up in a desert wilderness, but amazingly, every step of the way, food appears for them and all the people who follow them. But despite this miracle, they fail to listen and do everything that God asks them to do. They are supposed to trust Him, but because they are used to having the machines look after them, and are thus naturally lazy, when they realize they should be climbing up a mountain in the middle of the desert, they think this is a stupid way to go and a pointless exercise. They don't want to. It results in Gabrielle being bitten by a snake. Lynn tries to revive her, as Gabrielle becomes delirious and slips in and out of consciousness. Lynn is afraid that Gabrielle will die, but she doesn't. Lynn feels more stupid than ever because she feels so helpless, but God hears her and heals her by fixing her mind. Then as they continue, the journey becomes more and more metaphysical as the environment shifts and the old things of the world disappear. Soon only the mountain they are climbing remains. Around them is empty space. When they get to the top, they come to a lake full of the dead. They all get into small boats, with a rower who has been waiting for them, and these angels row them across the waters of the dead to the land of the living, which appears in the distance, where they are met by many others who are blessed with saving grace, and they are together with the Lord forever and are happy. The end.